I have a question for you. What purple McDonald's character, introduced in 1971 as part of McDonaldland, is known for his love of milkshakes? Hi, I'm Mark Ellison, host of the podcast 5 Daily Trivia Questions. Here's another question. What NFL team, founded in 1961, is known for its purple uniforms and Viking horn logo? No, the questions aren't always purple, but we do have theme days on 5 Daily Trivia Questions. Here's one more. What 1984 Prince film and album features the hit songs When Doves Cry and a song about rain? Follow 5 Daily Trivia Questions and come play along. Oh, and the answers: The Grimace, The Vikings, and Purple Rain. 5 Daily Trivia Questions wherever you get your shows. The number 5 Daily Trivia Questions.
In Washington, D.C., power flows through information. But what happens when the most sensitive military intelligence in the world ends up on the wrong phone? In the halls of power, a national security advisor makes a fatal miscalculation. On the other side of the world, a special forces team walks into a perfectly orchestrated trap. When the dust settles, 4 American soldiers are dead, 3 more captured. And the most catastrophic intelligence breach in modern history is just beginning to unravel. Signal Lost, a 6-part podcast thriller about betrayal, courage, and the devastating consequences of a world where even our most guarded communications are never truly secure. When everyone is listening, nowhere is safe. Signal Lost. Available wherever you get your podcasts.
Calaroga Shark Media.
From Greenland, the 52nd state, this is Ballot.
That's right, I'm Patrick Gutfield, and I'm here to make Nuke great again. Let's hit this. Well, the Battle of the Red Hats is officially on. A Greenlander named Angwak Reimer Johansson just created what might be the hottest fashion accessory of 2025, a red hat with Make America Go Away emblazoned across the front. Move over MAGA, there's a new acronym in town, MAGA, but this time it stands for Making Americans Get Anxious. This stylish headwear emerged in response to Trump's not at all colonial desire to acquire Greenland one way or the other. Because nothing says respectful foreign policy like treating an autonomous territory like it's a property on Trump monopoly. Meanwhile, on X, formerly Twitter, formerly a place where international diplomacy wasn't conducted, people are clamoring to buy the Make America Go Away hat. One user suggested a Canadian version with a maple leaf because nothing says politely asking you to leave like putting it on a hat with a maple leaf. Vice President JD Vance is joining his wife Usha on the trip to Greenland, and the timing couldn't be more awkward if they showed up wearing future U.S. territory t-shirts. This visit comes right after President Trump's threats to take over the island one way or the other. Because nothing says diplomacy like telling a country you're planning to acquire them like they're a vacation property on HGTV's Island Hunters. Vance posted a video saying he didn't want his wife to have all that fun by herself in Greenland. Yes, nothing says fun vacation like visiting a military installation in the Arctic while the locals are furious about your boss threatening to annex their homeland. Vance claims they're going because a lot of other countries have threatened Greenland. Meanwhile, Greenland is pointing at the White House, saying the call is coming from inside the house. Reimer Johansson, the hat lady, isn't buying the innocent tourist act, calling Vance's visit a charm offensive and urging his fellow Greenlanders not to be swayed. If you smile at them or take a selfie with them, you are sending a message to the world that you love the USA and want to be part of it. It's the international relations version of don't feed the bears or they'll keep coming back. The Trump administration wants to reinvigorate the security of the people of Greenland, which is like saying you want to install security cameras in your neighbor's house for their protection. Speaking of travel, people around the world are getting travel warnings about America like we're some sketchy motel with bedbugs and a murder problem. It's true. Countries like Germany, the UK, and Canada are telling their citizens to have all their paperwork ready when visiting America, or risk getting detained by ICE. Countries are now warning their citizens about visiting America, and it's not because of our giant sodas or overpriced health care. The Canadian government just updated its travel advice, telling citizens they must register with the US government if they plan to stay longer than 30 days. Failure to comply with the registration requirement could result in penalties, fines, and misdemeanor prosecution. Nothing says welcome to America like the threat of prosecution. The UK is warning travelers to comply with all entry conditions, otherwise they risk being arrested or detained. Germany notes that Germans aren't guaranteed entry even with a visa after several of their citizens were detained. It's like getting bounced from a club, except the bouncer puts you in handcuffs. Denmark and Finland have specifically warned transgender travelers to contact the American embassy before visiting. Because nothing says land of the free like having to call ahead to make sure your identity won't get you detained. These advisories come after foreigners have been detained and deported by American officials, including a Canadian woman named Jasmine Mooney, who said she felt kidnapped after being detained when applying for a visa at the US-Mexico border. 1 minute, I was in an immigration office. The next, I was told to put my hands against the wall and patted down like a criminal. That's one way to welcome our northern neighbors. On social media, some Canadians think their government should go further. We need to have a travel warning issued. The USA is no longer safe for Canadians, wrote one user. Another added, the US is routinely violating international law and depriving non-citizens of their rights. So if you're planning a trip to America, remember to bring your passport, visa, registration forms, and maybe a really good lawyer, just in case. It's like we've put up a giant sign saying, "Welcome to America," maybe. Americans have some thoughts about these travel warnings. One person says the US is nuttier than a peanut farm right now, which is both accurate and a delicious snack option. Another American who traveled the world, including the old Soviet Union, says American border control is now the rudest and most unpleasant he's encountered. When you're making the USSR look friendly in comparison, that's what we in the comedy business call a problem. Some Americans are embarrassed, with one saying, "It's unfathomable that a native-born American citizen feels this way." Others are considering leaving, like one person whose company offered them a job in Canada. Lower pay, but at least the border agents say sorry after being rude to you. Then there's the crowd that thinks these warnings are just political stunts. Who cares? Those countries aren't going to ban American travelers, says one. Yes, because nothing says publicity stunt, like please make sure your papers are in order so you don't end up in detention. One person summed it up. We have political unrest, several separate disease outbreaks, and multiple reports of foreigners being unlawfully detained by US law enforcement. When you put it that way, America sounds like the setting for a dystopian novel that got turned into a mediocre movie starring The Rock. So if you're planning to visit America, remember to bring your passport, visa, proof of citizenship, and maybe a lawyer's phone number. Just in case. Portions of today's program were made with the help of cool red hats, AI, and whatever it is we eat here in Greenland.
It is the world's most secretive election. When a pope dies, ancient traditions begin. A silver hammer, a destroyed ring, over 100 cardinals locked away from the world, choosing the next leader of 1 billion faithful. White Smoke. The Path to a New Pope, from Calaroga Shark Media, wherever you get your podcasts.